Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Sammy. It's been 5 months to the day since Path of Exile 2's early access launched. And today, I wanted to reflect the hype, the flaws, the fixes, and what still needs to change. This isn't doom and gloom, it's honesty. And it's from someone who genuinely wants this game to succeed. So let's talk. It's been 5 months since PoE 2 launched into early access, and I think we all need to have an honest conversation about where things stand. When Path of Exile 2 first dropped, it was electric. You could feel the buzz. Social feeds were flooded with first impressions, reaction, raw excitement, and rightfully so. We were all caught up in the euphoria of a new ARPG from a studio that helped define the genre. I remember logging in those first few days, wide-eyed, hopeful, and thinking this could be it. This could be the one. But as the weeks and months went on, the honeymoon phase wore off, and what started to settle in, unfortunately, was some doubt. Patch 01 came and went, and let's be honest, it didn't do much. It didn't address the most critical issues. Actually, some would say GGG doubled down on their vision. It didn't inject life into the endgame. It didn't fix the loot. It didn't touch crafting. It just sort of happened. That was the moment for many when things shifted from curiosity to concern. Now, to GGG's credit, patch 0.2 did start turning the tide. Loot saw major improvements, systems felt more responsive, and 0.2G, the recent hotfix, was arguably one of the most meaningful updates so far. Loot was finally scaled in a way that felt respective of players' time. And you could tell just by the conversations online that some of the spark was coming back. But here's the thing. We're 5 months in now to the day, and no matter how much you love the game, myself included, or want to love it, it's clear GGG has their work cut out for them. Let's not pretend otherwise. There are still major holes in this experience. The endgame, shallow, repetitive, uninspiring, and actually some would say the same thing for the campaign. Although for the most part the campaign is loved by many, the fact that we have to repeat acts 1 and 3 is just, I think, adding to players not liking the campaign. Now, obviously that will go away in the future when we don't have to repeat the acts. However, some do have that feeling right now. Build diversity is stiffed, with only a handful of viable options that feel truly expressive. Crafting, it's gambling. It's either too gated or not meaningful enough to engage with long term. Although, I will admit, 0.2G has made some inroads with the loot in order to make that a little bit more attainable. The delay of PoE 1. I know this is a sore point for many, and the 3.26 leak. Now, that's a bad look, especially when we haven't heard any recent updates. That player base is still in limbo and very angry. Now, we are in May, and we have heard that 3.26 is going to be happening in June, and I suspect that timeline is still going to be respected. However, it has been a long time since a new league has happened in Path of Exile 1. More broadly, many long-term players feel unsure of the identity this game wants to have, myself included. And I have to say, this is worth reflecting on. I've asked myself what makes a good ARPG, and the top 5 characteristics that I have come up with are the following. 1 is a deep, rewarding endgame with long-term progression. 2, build crafting freedom with true meta diversity. 3, fair and transparent monetization, cosmetics only, obviously. A rich, evolving world with meaningful lore and events. We all crave rich, evolving worlds in the games that we play. So this has to be in any good ARPG, in my humble opinion. Probably 1 and 2, 1 being deep rewarding endgame, and a 1A and a 2 is this next one. A compelling, responsive loot and crafting system. This is the engine that drives any good ARPG. If you don't have loot and you don't have a responsive and engaging crafting system, then I don't consider it a good ARPG. Right now, I don't know how many of these top 5, my top 5 list, I don't know how many of those Path of Exile 2 nails, to be honest. But here is where I flip the script. Because despite all of this, despite the missteps, despite the disappointment, I still believe this game is going to deliver. Not today, not tomorrow, maybe not even by the next patch, but eventually. There are signs right now that GGG is starting to listen, that they're reading the room. The loot changes, a direct result of the player feedback. The patch cadence is kind of stabilizing. It's slow, painfully slow, but it's moving. And this is why I keep logging in, because I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm here because I care. I'm here because I want to see the game succeed. And if you're watching this, maybe you do too. Right now, we're in the uncomfortable middle, where the bones are there, the systems are forming, but the soul, the magic, that's still, unfortunately, on the horizon. So here's what I leave with you. If you've walked away from POE 2, I get it. If you're still here grinding and hoping, I see you. And if you're just watching from a distance, waiting for that one patch to bring you back, maybe that patch is coming sooner than we think. Now, I know what all of you are thinking. Oh, God, another friggin' video about this, about that, about Path of Exile 2, and all this kind of stuff. But as a content creator, I'm going to talk about what I'm feeling about the games that I care about and the games that I'm playing. And currently, I'm playing Path of Exile 2. And I have to say, this is probably, when I said we are in the middle ground here, I have to say, we're in a state of influx right now, because I am torn, and I'm being completely honest here. I am so torn on what everything's happening right now with Path of Exile 2, because here is the dilemma for me personally, is the fact that I trust grinding gear games, although I have to say the armor has been tarnished a bit. These missteps that I've mentioned, not only in this video, but in many previous videos before this, these missteps have been big miscalculations. And, you know, it has planted a seed of doubt. As small as it is, it's still a seed of doubt. So I am a little bit worried, but I also trust grinding gear games, because I still do believe that they know what they're doing. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has a misjudgment. Everybody has a thought, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to succeed. And you go and do it and you fall. But you can course correct. This is life. There are second chances. So I'm torn, because I want grinding gear games to listen to the player base, but I also want them to stick to them doing what they do best, and that is create amazing games. So this is why I'm torn. I'm torn because I don't want them to come so much to listening to every little tidbit that is set out out here in the internet universe where that they get away from the true core of how they want to make this game. Because I do believe, I know there's a lot of memes on GGG's vision, but I do believe in that core vision. It just needs fine tuning and adjustments. Now, are some aspects of that vision that I disagree with wholeheartedly. And the first thing that comes into my mind, and the one that really drives me crazy personally, is how crafting is so much gambling involved, and that they need to kind of bend a little bit to become a more deterministic crafting. Now, I love patch 2G. I think the loot changes that they've made is a step forward. And I do believe it's the genesis to better crafting. However, if we still are so non-deterministic in crafting, you would have to triple the amount of loot that's being dropped. Now, again, I'm going from one extreme to the other, but that is one thing that I don't agree with just the pure casino gambling environment when it comes to crafting. I just wish they would make it a little bit more deterministic, but that's one example. But the point is, I want them to stick to their guns, but also listen to the important things that the players are saying. And hopefully that combination where they kind of move a little bit, not too much, and do bend on their vision a little bit, but not to the point where it's not the game that they wanted to make. Because I do appreciate the meaningful combat. I do appreciate the difficulty. I think it is unbelievable. The fact that this game has so many things still to fix, and I look forward to playing it every day, even with all the sores, I think speaks big volumes. Now, I know you might be saying, well, you're one goddamn person. That's not everybody. And you're right. The numbers, they're kind of so-so. They're not as horrible as the feedback. There are still 50, 60, 70,000 players. Now, again, those are just Steam numbers. We don't know how many are playing on the standalone. We don't know how many are playing on console. So my only foundation of stats, unfortunately, is Steam. So yes, they have gone down big time, but they're still in the 40, 50, 60,000 range, even with all the negative reviews and the negative bombing feedback that they've gotten. So I think that kind of says something. I hope you agree with that. You'll correct me if I'm wrong. But clearly, there's an audience for this game. Now, it's just a matter of how and when we're going to get there. 5 months in, and there's still so much more to come to this game. There's still half the acts missing. There are still a ton of classes and ascendancies missing. Probably more bosses, and I can go on and on and on and on. There's still a lot of content to come, but we are 5 months into it. And I just wanted to do this video because today is 5 months to the day. So I want to hear from you. Drop a comment. Tell me how you're feeling about Path of Exile 2 5 months in. What made you stay? What made you quit? What's the one thing GGG has to get right in the next big update? Point 3. Like, comment, and subscribe for more POE 2 content, updates, reflections, deep dives, me going off like this. This isn't the end of the road, guys. This is the part where we get honest so the game can finally become what it's always meant to be. In my humble opinion, it's meant to be the top ARPG in the genre. Let me know what you think. As always, thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time. Take care. The opinions expressed in this video are mine and solely mine. Healthy debate is always encouraged. Hate is never welcomed. So get over it.